Hi there, Sandra here, and welcome back to my channel and to another video. This is the last of 4 illustrations I made for a Camellia exhibition, which was going to take place toward the end of March, but it has postponed to next year. If you want to hear why and the full story, check my first video, which I will link it on top right in the card and in the description. But in short words, during February, I made 4 illustrations about camellias, and the theme for the exhibition was Fantastic Park, which fantastic can also be interpreted as fantasy. One of my main ideas for these illustrations was to integrate insects with camellias to convey a feeling of a fantastic surrounding by changing the colors of the flowers, of the leaves, or insects, or both. I also had the idea of changing the wings and body of the insects to resemble flowers, although I wasn't sure exactly how to portray what I wanted to draw and to convey by still drawing the box in a realistic way, like my art style. But luckily on Pinterest I found photos of an artist who attached real petals of flowers to insect drawings instead of the wings, and that really helped me to work on my illustrations and have a better vision on how I could paint the insects' wings like the flowers. Among the insects, I wanted to draw beetles and butterflies for sure. For the butterflies, I was able to include them in the first illustration I uploaded on my channel, while for the beetles, it took me some color testing to figure out how to paint them and if I really wanted to draw petals instead of the wings. But at the end, I think it was a good choice to paint the wings as the flower's petals because it really gives the atmosphere of a fantastic park surrounded by not ordinary insects. And among the 4 illustrations I made for this Camellia exhibition, this one is one of my favorites. I painted 2 different camellias because I wanted to draw a camellia without filaments for the pistil, the central part of the flower, because there are species of camellias that just have petals and I really wanted to draw one of them. The one I used for this illustration is called Camellia japonica Pink Perfection, although I'm not 100% sure about the name, while the other camellia is inspired by the Camellia williamsi species, and these are camellias I have in my garden, and the Pink Perfection is one of my favorite camellias along with the Camellia Korean Red Fire. But they are also the most difficult camellias to draw and paint in some way because they have lots of petals and it's not easy to paint soft pink to make each petal stands out so it doesn't look like a blob of color. I'm not sure how to explain it, but taking as example the red camellia for the 3rd illustration I made, they were the easiest to paint and add details because they have few petals and it's easy to have different values of red. You can use dark red for adding shadow and use a light red for highlights. While painting with a soft pink, there isn't much room for color value variation. I hope it makes sense. So the camellias I have in my garden were already blooming during February, so it was a great reference for me to have the real flowers in front of me to copy and see the colors and the veins of the petals and to draw and paint the leaves as well. Although I have to admit that after I finished painting this illustration and comparing the finished piece to the color thumbnail I made digitally, the Williams Camellia, I wanted to paint it more rosish, but I didn't pay attention while I was painting and overlay now the color I should have used in the first place. It just would ruin the entire art piece, and at the end, if I would make this color change, the color would be too similar to the beetles, so they wouldn't stand out as much as they do right now. So everything worked out for the best at the end. Sometimes making bold choices can be scary, and laying down strong colors right away, I might ruin the final result. So I usually work with light paint application to slowly build up different values, but sometimes I'm too soft. I might still do color changes digitally to try out, to see how it looks like, but either way. And then for this piece I thought lilac, violet and purple leaves would look nice with these pink camellias, although I don't know why, but it's been a while since I struggled lay down a color like it happened here with purple. And I had the same problem with the first illustration where I had to overlay another layer on top to achieve an even and smooth wash. Otherwise, the first layer I applied, it would have looked terrible. I'm not sure why, but I guess it's because I used magenta to make purple, and I always had struggle laying down magenta no matter what I do, even if it's mixed with other colors. So I blame magenta for that. But yeah, I guess the color combination and consistency and the chemistry, I don't know, just didn't work together. And on this piece specifically, I made the mistake of not preparing enough color, so for certain leaves and branch, they aren't the exact same color. I wasn't planning to paint all the leaves in the same colors to begin with, and to be honest, in my works, it doesn't really matter to me if the colors aren't exactly the same everywhere. It gives more personality and color variation, if that makes sense. Of course, it depends on the type of paintings you are making, and using the same color might be very important because it's not always easy to recreate the exact same color a second time, so it's good to make enough paint, especially if you have to cover large areas. And with gouache, you can make even more paint than you need, because you can always reactivate the unused paint and use it for another painting. But again, for me, it doesn't bother me too much, and I wish that you also don't stress yourself in case you don't make enough paint and you have a bit different colors going on in your piece, because the result might not be as terrible as you think. I also don't usually work on big size paintings like I did for these illustrations. I usually work between A4 and A5 size because that's the size I'm more comfortable working on. So I usually don't need to make a lot of paint, also because I mostly work with diluted gouache, so I guess I just didn't think ahead on how much colors I would have needed. But for these illustrations, it was better to make them bigger, because for the exhibition they would have made a square poster of 60 centimeters wide, so my illustration would have been scanned and enlarged for making the posters. My illustrations are about over 20 centimeters wide, so this way, once scanned, the print resolution would still have a nice quality. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed these illustrations I made for the Camellia exhibition that is not taking place this year, but if it does next year as planned, I will make sure to vlog the exhibition and to show you how it went. I was planning to make prints and have them on my shop by the time I uploaded this video, but I closed my shop for the time being because of the coronavirus. My country is kind of locked down and everything is shut down, aside from essential services like supermarkets, pharmacies and post office. But the post service here in Switzerland, they announced the other day they wouldn't be able to deliver letters and packages internationally to some countries due to the border being closed and most of the flights being cancelled, or delivery might get delayed. So even if I wanted to keep my shop open, I wouldn't be able to ship orders right now. But I closed my shop before this new announcement because it is a very delicate situation, and until things don't get better, the best thing I can do for myself, for my family, and for my community and the safety of everyone is to stay at home and limit my social interaction. So I hope you understand, and I'm not sure how long my shop will stay closed, probably some months, but I will take this time to reorganize my shop and I will be back with new products. And before I finish the video, unfortunately I lost the file for the last detailed painted on the flying beetles and for the yellow filaments on the pistil of the flowers, and I'm sorry about that. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!